All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another show with Yet Stand Inc., my nonprofit where we serve and support sexual assault survivors. This is our Thrive, Flourish, and Prosper show, where we get to talk to survivors about their experiences and about their healing journeys and how their lives are progressing today. So we have with us Sharina Frazier Miller, and we're going to talk quite a bit with Sharina. She's written a book. She has products and different things that we'll talk to Sharina about. So thanks so much for joining, Sharina. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to let everybody know, the show is pre-recorded. It will be available this evening, and that's Wednesday, December 28th, 2022 at 7 p.m. And it will be on Yet Stand Inc., Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter pages. So we invite you to check it out, listen in. If you have comments, questions, you're welcome to leave that information because we will be following up to see what everyone has to say. All right, so Sharina, if you're ready, I'm just going to go ahead and start with my questions.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, as I said, you are a sexual assault survivor. So, one of the questions I have is, when were you sexually assaulted?
It started with me around age 6 to 7 years old and continued until I was about 18.
Okay. Um, and are you able to kind of give us an idea of, who the perpetrator or perpetrators were?
Sure. So in my case, I had three different ones. My mother, living boyfriend, my adult pastor son, and my gym teacher at my junior high school.
Hmm.
The long lasting one, of course, was my mother's live-in boyfriend. That was the long
Okay.
lasting one.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so was there anyone that you told about what was happening?
As I started to tell people, it was kind of hard to really express what was really going on because you got to remember I was a child. So I didn't really begin to talk about it until like maybe I was around like 16, 15, 16 years old. And it was still kind of difficult because people were still at that stage of life where they were pushing it under the rug, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so with your mom's living boyfriend, did your mom have any idea of what was going on at the time, or when
Absolutely.
she did?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, she was
okay,
aware what was going on. She covered for him and it caused a lot of damage in my life with me being an only child and not having a sibling to turn to. I
mm-hmm.
managed to escape sometime. I spent like a lot of summers in Detroit, Michigan with my grandmother and managed to escape going to my grandfather's house sometime. But yeah, my mother was aware.
Yeah, yeah. So you said you go to your grandfather's house. Was he nearby, like where you could go to on your
Right.
own?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
in Cleveland, Ohio, and he lived on the west side of Cleveland, Ohio. So maybe about 20, 25 minutes away. Yes, I was able
Yeah.
to escape some time with him.
Yeah. Now, what about your grandparents? Did they have any idea of anything? Just that anything was happening, was going on with you?
I can't really 100% speak for them, but I can say I believe they sensed something.
Hmm.
But due to the fact that my mother is the oldest out of 10, and I think the manipulation,
Mm.
you will, I
Mhm.
think it
Mhm.
took place and it took over what I was saying or what I was trying to say. And it was kind of hard for me to express myself on what was going on because I'm scared. I'm a kid. I'm
Yeah.
scared. I don't know what to do. So I
Right.
believe that they were aware that it was something, but didn't quite understand what it was.
Understand what? Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so what about sometimes I talk to people and I know that your grandparents were safe people for you. Were there other safe people or safe places or spaces for you?
So yeah, so I would have to say those teenage years, which was my boyfriend then, which is my husband now,
Oh
that was
wow.
a place for me to run away to, and he would hide me out and make sure I had food and different things like that. But it was always in the back of my mind that I have to leave and go home.
Yeah.
um, my local police department, they would see me walking, down the street, and they were so nice. Cleveland Fourth District, Lord knows, they were
Oh.
there to kind of like transport me or whatever. But they didn't know what was going on. Once again, I'm a kid, scared. If you don't totally remove me out of this home, then I have to deal with whatever is to come. So
Mhm. Mhm.
life was hard. It was very hard and scary.
Wow. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So okay, so you mentioned your boyfriend at the time. So he knew. Did he know exactly
He
what was
was
happening?
he was aware. I told a little, but not a lot, because
Mm.
it's that fear of, will he believe me? Or will he think that, oh, no, that's not really happening? So it was like a lot of different thoughts going on. So
Mhm.
he knew a little, but as we got older and I shared more, I mean, of
Mhm.
course, he was angry, like, I wish I'd have known the full story at that time. But
Yeah.
when you're that young, you tell just enough to ease the pain, if that makes
Mm.
sense. So
Yeah.
that's what I found myself doing.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. And so are your parents are they is your mom still alive with you or
Yes, actually, my mom is still alive. I have not physically spoke to my mom since 2014, and
Mm.
God is good. I'm at peace with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I have forgiven her, not for her, but for me, for my mental status.
Yeah.
Um, and that's all I can really say about it.
Yeah, yeah. So what about the like the boyfriend, do you know what has come of him or the other, people who
So let's start with the boyfriend. He passed away. I
mm,
may be off on my dates a little bit because I tend to block it out. I'm going to
uh-huh.
say between 2002 and 2004, he passed away.
Okay.
Um, the pastor's son, he is still living. He's actually a pastor here
Mm,
in the city of Cleveland.
mm.
The gym teacher, not for sure where he is
What
at this
happened? Yeah, yeah,
point.
yeah. Um, so and I'm just asking, since you know at least that the, pastor's son is still around. I mean, have you ever thought of, you know, reporting him, saying anything, reporting him or anything like that?
By it being so many, like, you gotta remember, I'm almost 52 years old.
Mm.
So um there are rumors that have circulated through the city since I published the book.
Oh, okay.
So there are some things that's going on, and there are some new victims from my
Mm,
understanding. I didn't write the book to hurt anyone. I wrote the book to help survivors and to let survivors know it's okay to talk about it.
yeah.
It's okay to seek help. So, if it was left up to my husband, yes, we would go visit the church
Excuse me.
and whatever, but we're not going to do all that.
Okay,
That's
okay.
it.
All right. And do you, like, ever have to see him? Do you run into him, anything like that,
You
or
know what's weird? I ran into him one day in my local BJ's, and I hadn't seen him in like probably 25 years. And we made eye contact, and it clicked to me after he walked away. He delivers bread or something. And it clicked to me who it was. And
Mm.
instantly, there was a trigger for me,
Mhm.
and I turned my cart around to go address him. And it must have been God, because I couldn't find him anywhere in
Oh,
the
okay.
store. So
Yeah.
I don't have to see him, and I make sure that I detach from people that associate with people that have caused damage to me. I
Yes.
protect my peace. My peace.
Right.
So no, I don't have to see him. No.
Yeah. Good, good. Okay. So you did mention earlier, you mentioned your book. So that's Bruised, Not Broken, Overcoming Molestation and Abuse. So
Mhm.
now your book can be found on Amazon. Um,
Correct.
and then, as we spoke earlier, you have a website,
Mhm.
sfrasermiller.com. And there's also a link on your website that can take us to Amazon to purchase the book.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, good. So what are some of the things that one will find in your book, and what are you kind of hoping that the takeaway will be for people?
So the things that they'll find in Bruised but Not Broken, there's a part one and a part two, which
Okay.
are both on my website. Part one really starts with the beginning, from the beginning, from what I can remember. And I just kind of like cover the breakdown and the stages of what I went through. Um,
Mhm.
I talk about the molestation. I talked about
Mhm.
different events that happened that really stand out in my mind. And then part two, I really wasn't going to do a part two, but my readers wanted more. So
Okay.
I did a part two. So part two basically covers where I was 2 years ago. Cause I think that book is almost 2 years old now. And it just kind of covers like I dropped out of high school at the ninth grade. I talk about how I went back to high school, earned my high school diploma, went on, received my associate's, bachelor's, and master's, all in the criminal justice field.
Excellent.
So it's just kind of like to let people know you can make it. You just have to
Mhm.
set goals. That's what I did. I set a goal. You
Uh-huh.
can make it and you can do it. So that's basically what the book is about, both
Very
books.
good. Very good. So I did want to ask you, what were some of the after effects for you? I know that, oftentimes, I mean, there's so many that sexual abuse survivors go through. I mean, some, get into drugs, there's eating disorders, there's even mental health kind of issues, and, suicide, just all kinds of. What were some of the things for you?
So I had a lot. So I'll give you
Mm.
the main ones.
Mhm.
My dark skin tone. I hate to this day, I hate being dark skinned because
Oh
that was
boy.
something that was embedded in me as the molestation was going on. You're black, you're dark, you're ugly. No one would ever want you, love you, different things like that. I was suicidal for 20 years. I was on
Mm.
an antidepressant called Paxil. I
Mm.
wanted to take my life. I felt like there
Mm.
was nothing else to live for. It left me with trust issues because you have to remember the first person that you think you could trust is your mom.
Mhm.
And to for your mom to violate that trust and allow you to be exposed to hurt,
Mhm.
it kind of just wipes everybody else out, so to speak.
Exactly. Exactly.
So trust was very, very hard. It's still hard now, but
Mhm.
it's like you kind of like I look at people and I give them a chance until they
Yeah.
hurt me. Once
Mhm.
you cross me, I'm done. I can
Yeah.
love you at a distance.
Mhm.
Those were the main things. I am happy to say that I still attend counseling.
Okay.
At this point, I attend counseling so everyone else around me can exist.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Counseling really helps me. I have not been on an antidepressant medication in probably about 15 years.
Very
I
good.
do have to take anxiety medication, PRN, depending on what's going on, because there's certain seasons and certain things that can kind of trigger me.
Trigger. Mhm.
But I still go to counseling once every 2 weeks. So
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
maintaining.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good.
Mhm.
Um, what are some of the things that, aside from the medication that you'll take with the anxiety, do you have any other things that you might do when in the moment where you're feeling anxious, or, those kinds of things happen? Are there any other things that help to make ground you, calm you down?
So, yes, reading helps
Okay.
me. Music. I love music. I
Mm,
always tell
mhm.
people music is the only thing that never left my side, that
Yeah.
and God. So, to listen to some smooth jazz, get a cup of hot tea, it kinda brings me down, and then I like to focus in on what's to come. What do I need to work on to improve me? What do
Mm,
I need to work on to motivate others? Because I do work in the criminal justice field. So I do work with offenders, and I'm always trying to think of things to motivate them, to help them, and to encourage them, and to keep them from going back behind the wall. So
Yeah.
there's always something going on that I know that I can do. I've learned to know my worth now.
Very
I
good.
am somebody,
Uh-huh.
so I've
Uh-huh.
learned to do that. So that's kind of like when I do when I feel down, put
Yeah.
myself out and think it could always be a little worse.
Very good. Very good.
Mhm.
So you said you work in the prisons. Um, is it with female, men, or what kind of
I have
what is
both.
the work that you do? Okay.
Well, I
Okay.
have both. I have a male and female. So yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
a lot that goes into that.
Uh-huh.
So, and then my book is inside of one of our local prisons here uh, in the Cleveland area. So to kind of like hear feedback from
Mm-hmm.
the offenders, that's motivating. That's enough to make me want to keep going and keep doing what I'm doing, because so many people have dealt with sexual abuse
Mm-hmm.
and they still can't and they won't talk about
Talk
it.
about it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my job, is to try to help you talk about it.
Yeah, yeah, that's very good. I love that.
Mhm.
Um, I understand too that you have a website, classybutterflyohio.com, and you
Mhm.
have products on there. So what kind of products are would we find there?
Okay, so Classy Butterfly is my makeup line. So there's a
Okay.
story behind that. I'll give you
Mm-hmm.
a little briefing on that.
Uh-huh.
Butterflies are my passion. Butterflies came from when I was a little girl dealing with the sexual molestation. I would take a mason jar, go outside, put grass in a bottle, catch a butterfly, and in my mind, the butterfly would witness me going through the rape that night. The butterfly would believe me if nobody else would believe me.
Yeah.
So I've always been into makeup because I felt that makeup would hide my dark skin, makeup would make me look better or whatever. And I can remember for eyeshadow at 12 years old, I would use baby powder and a Q-tip to put eyeshadow on.
Oh, wow.
So I run
Uh-huh.
into so many people that say, "Oh, your skin is so rich," or "Your skin is this," or whatever. So it's like, you know what? I
Mm-hmm.
would like to do something to not just help survivors, but to help women who darker skin tone women. We are scared to go to a makeup artist because we don't want to look crazy or whatever. That
Uh-huh.
was my thought anyway. So
Uh-huh.
I decided this was something I wanted to do to first help survivors that feel like, oh my God, I want to wear makeup, but I don't know how to apply it, and to just help women in general. So that's how Classy
Okay.
Butterfly came about.
Wonderful. Okay. So we can go to classybutterflyohio.com and check out your products. That
Correct.
is wonderful. Okay. Um, so tell me a little bit more about how should I say? I know there's sometimes coping mechanisms maybe that we take on. Um, what were some of those for you? Like, how did you, especially during the time when these things were happening, one, you had mentioned that you were suicidal, and I'm interested to know what stopped you.
Okay. So with the suicidal, there were many attempts like taking medications and trying to cut myself. The medication would just make me sick. So it got to the point where I'm like, not going to do this because it's not going to work and I'm going to be sick again. Um, my faith in God, one thing I can say, my mother was the biggest hypocrite in the church, but I admire her for raising me in the church.
Mm.
I believe it was the word of God in me reading my word and
Mm-hmm.
me popping on my gospel music. Back then, it was like James Cleveland and Shirley Caesar, those
Mm-hmm.
songs is what got me through. I cried plenty of nights.
Mm.
Plenty of nights I would just cry myself to sleep and just say, Lord, you got to help me. And I can remember when TD Jakes first came out with the Naked and Not Ashamed.
Mm.
I was so frustrated and tired. And I took a shower and I got out the shower and I stood on my Bible as I was drying off, and I said, Lord, I'm naked and I'm not ashamed. You have
Mm.
to take the wheel because I can't do this by myself. I need you. I'm going to trust you. At that point, I began to just say, I trust you, Lord.
Mhm.
It's not easy, but I trust you.
Mhm.
As I began to speak that to myself, because one thing about people, you can't depend on people to understand what you're going through if they
Mhm.
haven't been through what you went through, and
Mhm.
if they haven't started the healing process of what they're going through,
You're
if
right.
they went through what you went through, they
Uh-huh.
can't help you.
Yeah.
So I had to learn to strictly depend on God and to just stay in my prayers and stay in my
Mhm.
counseling.
Yeah.
And that's what got me through. And that's what
Yeah.
continues to get me through. I'm not saying that I'm above water. No, I'm not. I still have those days, but I'm stronger now where I know, hey, I could do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me.
Mhm,
Yeah. Well, I agree with you on that. And I think that that's probably the most powerful, the most powerful thing that we can do is to lean and depend on God. Excuse
mhm,
me.
mhm.
I'm still getting over a little something myself.
Okay.
um, so let me ask you, what would you say to someone, or what do you say to the people that you talk to, sorry, that have been sexually assaulted, maybe not dealing with it, not talking about it? What do you say to them? Excuse
So
me.
the first thing is I try to encourage them the best to my ability, speaking life, not talking negative to them, and trying to get them to separate from going out to have a drink, going to the bars. That's not going to help you because when you
Hmm.
come off of your high or whatever it is, the problem is still there. So let's try to deal with the problem. Let's try to get the help that you need. Um, Obviously, me being here in the Cleveland area, we have a great rape crisis center. So I'm always referring them to them because people want to use me as a counselor, and I tell them I am a disservice to you because I don't have a psychology degree. But
Hmm.
what I can do, I can help you and I can refer you to places
Right.
that can help you.
Hmm.
I also try to get them to reverse the curse, I call it.
Mm.
Don't allow what you went through to carry on into your children's life. So you have to look at, you have children, what are they going through? Sit down, talk to them. It's a conversation that a lot of people don't want to talk about. They
Hmm.
don't want to tell the children, hey, I was sexually abused. Hey, this
Yeah.
happened. We want to cover for the uncle and the auntie that did this type of stuff. But
Hmm.
if we continue to cover, we can't grow. That's my thing. So I'm
Right.
always promoting that you get help, get services that you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Very good suggestions for sure. Um, is there anything else that you want us to know about you, about your story, anything that you're doing?
That's basically it. Continue to pray for me.
Yeah,
I need your
absolutely.
prayers.
Uh-huh.
But that's pretty much it. And I would just encourage anyone that's going through it, get the help that you need. It's not your fault. It seems like it's the end of the world, but it really it's not the end of the world, and you
Mm-hmm.
can make it.
All right, you can make it. I love that. Thank you so much, Sharina. That was really awesome. Powerful story. Thank you for your bravery and your courage and sharing with us. And yeah, I really appreciate that. And I'm just definitely going to check out Classy Butterfly. I'd like to see some of the products that you have on there, and I would encourage others to do the same. So we have been speaking with Sharina Fraser Miller, and this is Yet Stand Inc., my nonprofit, yetstand.org. You can find more information about us. If you need help, there is the National Sexual Assault Hotline. It is a 24-hour service. You can call that number at any time of day or night, and they can help you through, provide resources, things like that. And the goal of our show is that you thrive, flourish, prosper. And as Sharina has says, you can do it. All right. So thank you so much. We will follow up. We will follow if there's any comments or questions or anything like that. We will be checking that out. Again, you will be able to see this show. That's tonight, Wednesday, December 28th. 2022 at 7 p.m. And you'll find the show on Yet Stand Inc., YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sharina, and we will
Thank you.
talk soon.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.